I need to let you know that your dreams have an expiration date. Your goals have an expiration date. Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm Racquel, and if you're new here, welcome. If this is your first or second video, because I've only made like 2 so far, hey! So it's April the 1st. Well, almost. It's March 31st, but it'll be April tomorrow as I'm recording this video. And things are going great, right? If you're watching this video, it may be going fantastic and you might be looking for new ways to help change your life this year. Or it could be going terrible. For me, it's going okay. It's going pretty good, I would say. I'm very optimistic about the future, even though there's a lot of doomsday talk out there, especially about this whole solar eclipse that's supposed to be happening and the timing of certain things. I'm really into that. But if you plan to live past April the 8th, I think that's when the solar eclipse is going to happen. If you plan on living past the 8th and you haven't gotten, as far as you would like to, as far as your goals and the things that you want to pursue, if you haven't accomplished a lot of the things that you wanted to do in your life, this video is for you. It's already hard enough, right? To stick to our goals, to keep them, to maintain the motivation, to be all that we can be, right? I'm a millennial, so I grew up with, you get a trophy even if you participate kind of energy. And I've had to learn to realize that just because you get a trophy doesn't mean you really did anything. You have to try, and you have to, pursue what you want, and you have to stick to schedules, and you have to learn how to adult, be an adult. You have to learn adulting. That was a big phrase the last few years. And it's true. We have certain obligations in life. For me, I've learned to see life as a grand experience. Will this be my only experience? I believe in the afterlife and all of that, but I also believe in making the most of life while I'm alive. And that comes with some planning, some strategic planning, and desire to want to be more, to want to achieve more, and change my life throughout the course of my life. So we're always changing. Change is it's forever. Things are always going to change. Change is the natural progression of life. You change from a baby to a toddler, to a preteen, preteen to teen, teen to young adult to, you get the idea. And since we're always changing, we always have different goals. But maybe your goals are a little bit lackluster. Maybe you're struggling with motivation to just want to give more energy to something else because your day-to-day life sucks all the life out of you. Maybe you're looking for a change. Maybe you're looking to change your life and you don't even know it. Maybe you know you need to change your life, but you're not sure exactly how. I'm sure you've seen a lot of videos about how to change your life and this year and that year. Maybe they're grand ideas. I haven't watched a lot of them, but I do believe I have some tips that'll help you to change your life this year. Now, all the things that I'll list here have to do with your mindset, your physical body changing, your heart and mind changing, because I believe everything works from the core. If you don't change the core, everything else is a facade. I feel like we work from the inside out. I know a lot of people don't have that philosophy, but I believe we're more than what meets the eye. And so if you want to change your life, you have to change the inside. I'll have one point that will address how to trick your mind into doing things a little bit differently by addressing your outward appearance. But a lot of it will be focused on the internal. So let's get started. So my first tip to change your life in 2024 is to stop procrastinating on your dreams and your goals. And I'm sure you've heard that 1,000 times, perhaps, maybe from people that you're tired of hearing it from. Well, I'm the new person on the block, and I'm telling you to stop procrastinating. I'm a big procrastinator. I have another video that came out last week about the whole waiting season and how I got trapped in a cycle of always waiting for that confirmation, being that I'm a spiritual person. Sometimes when I'm taking advice from other people, it can leave me feeling very stuck. And being in that waiting season and, practicing patience is very virtuous, right? So it's hard to say, no, you shouldn't be waiting for that. You should take life by the horns and do things your way. There's a balance in everything. A lot of things that I could have been working on in life while I was doing my whole waiting thing, waiting for whatever it was to happen or to hear, to see, I procrastinated more than I should have. When I started understanding about the waiting season and how waiting is very active, it's expectant, it's alive, it's hopeful, and you can be doing little things to help get yourself in the right position while you're waiting for what you're expecting instead of just waiting for that green light to say, okay, now's the time to go ahead and take life by the horns. After I got my mindset about that right, I started to change. My life actually did start to change. I started to incorporate the spiritual with the practical. And I know this is probably common sense for a lot of people, but if you've grown up in certain environments where, you're taught to, sorry, where you're taught to see life a certain way, and you grow up like that, then it's easy to get into that mindset. When we get past that point of, over spiritualizing things, I should say that it's over spiritualizing things, it's keeping your head too far up in the clouds. Okay. And we don't want that. Look at the clouds and, get back to work kind of thing. When I started realizing that I was procrastinating and I was letting life kind of slip by in a lot of ways, I had to change. And so when I started to understand about waiting and how that made me very stagnant and procrastinate on the things that I wanted in life, I had to change. And so I started actively working on things while I was waiting. Sometimes I had that urge to say, wait, you're taking this too far. You should probably hold on and just, wait this out for a better time. A lot of people, have this idea like right now with the housing market and rates going up and when they think, is the best time to buy and all of these kind of things, For some people, it's a good advice to wait. For other people, it's not. Go back to that other video. I describe a lot more in there. But if you're procrastinating, it could be years that you've been procrastinating on a dream that you've had, a goal that you've had. I need to let you know that your dreams have an expiration date. Your goals have an expiration date. For some people, that could be when they die. Okay? That can be when they leave this earth. For some other people, it could be when somebody else takes your idea and profits off of it. If you feel like you've gotten this great idea and you procrastinate on it, you might see someone else with that same idea and they're profiting off of it. I'll give you a great example. My mother wanted to create, a shoe for kids who live in poverty-stricken areas in the US, because we do have them. I'm in the US. Shout out where you're from in the comments. I'm curious to know. But also all across the world, she wanted to create these shoes that expand for children as they age, like a durable shoe. And I remember her telling me about this like years ago. And it's something that she always wanted to do. My mother is she's very creative. She's got that mind that's always coming up with something. She's a songwriter as well. She's always creating songs and she wants me to sing them. She wanted to create this shoe and she didn't. She didn't create it at all. And I believe it was last year, I saw online that this guy created the exact same shoe that my mother was thinking about. Your ideas may not be your own. There could be somebody else with the same exact idea. In a lot of situations, whoever gets there first means a lot, okay? Your dreams may have an expiration date. That doesn't mean that you can't pursue it. It would mean that the window of opportunity that you had to pursue it is not as ideal, and you may face harder circumstances. I know someone who started school and then stopped. They started school and then stopped, and they always told themselves they would be going back to school. However, it's been years and they're still at the place where they haven't gone back to school and they want to go back to school, and now they think they can never go back to school. Your dreams have an expiration date, and that really just depends on you and your individual circumstances as to what that expiration date is. So start something now. Get started. Okay. My tip number 2 is to have a morning and a night routine. I know a lot of people have a morning routine, and I'm sure you've heard of it, but a lot of people forget the night routine, me included, okay? Because for me, I must admit, and I'm trying actually not to admit this to myself anymore, I'm definitely a night I'm naturally a night owl, but I am now a morning person. I'm now a morning person, and yeah. Waking up in the morning, early in the morning, has changed a lot of my life, okay? It's changed a lot of my life. My alarm clock goes off maybe about 3:40 in the morning. But I do have 3 alarms because that's a change from my other work schedules where I didn't have the opportunity to have such an early morning. But having a morning and a night routine helped to change my life. The night routine, I feel like, is actually more important because it sets me up to be able to wake up. That's the biggest thing, right? For a morning person. If you're naturally a morning person, congrats. But if you're not, having a night routine is actually more important. And just think about it for a second. If you're a night person and you continue to go to bed at like 12 and 1 a.m., can you really expect to get up at 4 a.m. and continue the whole day functional? I know I couldn't. I need 8 hours of sleep, although I don't always get 8 hours of sleep. For me, I actually wrote down what all I needed to do the night before, typically on every night, what I need to do: brush my teeth, do my hair, wash my face, take a shower, all that kind of stuff. Scheduling all that time out and then actually placing it at a certain time in my alarm clock where it'll set off saying, it's time to prepare for your daily cool down. Like you're on the exercise machine, you got your cool down period. Have an alarm where you're setting your cool down period so you can prepare for the morning. Maybe one day I'll go through my morning routine, but you need to have a consistent morning and night routine. That will definitely help change your life this year if you don't have one already. My tip number 3 is that during your morning routine, specifically in the morning, early in the morning, take time to meditate. Meditation for me is a little bit different than what it's commonly viewed as. I can't talk today. So I don't sit in the quiet and just hum. I don't try to empty my mind or any of that. For me, meditation it's speaking, it's muttering. The actual word for meditation is to mutter silently to yourself. The best description that I've ever had regarding meditation is the idea of a cow. Yeah. So when a cow eats, They'll chew the cud. They'll chew and chew and chew and chew and chew and chew, and then they'll swallow. And then they'll regurgitate, which means they'll throw it up, they'll vomit it up, and chew and chew and chew and chew and chew and chew. The cow is making sure all of the nutrients and what it's eating is getting out of the food and into their system. So once you continue chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing, you're making sure all those vitamin and nutrients are getting into your system. It's the same principle with meditation. You're constantly chewing and chewing and chewing on certain principles and doctrines that you follow, and you remind yourself of it. You repeat it to yourself. You encourage yourself with it. And so for me, that's how I meditate in the morning. I'll take time to repeat certain things to myself and read certain things out loud so that I can remember them. It's more digestible. And as you chew and chew and chew and chew on certain things, it gets broken down. You understand what I'm saying? I know that for a lot of people, this is like new agey type stuff, but if you're under the Abrahamic faith, which is, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, meditation is a part of those faiths as well. So when you think of meditation, think about a cow, their chewing process, their regurgitation and chewing again, to make sure they're getting everything they can out of that meal. And what your principles and your doctrines are is like a meal. It should be feeding your soul. It should be an anchor for your soul. If you haven't seen my video about how to stay calm, check that one out. It talks about having an anchor for your soul. And so in the morning, make time to meditate. Meditate like a cow. Meditate like a cow. Tip number 4 is to read more. And this is very simple, but it's very powerful. Take maybe a half an hour out of the day just to read a book. A lot of people do the audio books as well, but it's not exactly the same as actually reading the book. The smartest people on earth are consistent readers. They're always trying to expand their mind through reading, their vocabulary through reading, their ways of thought through reading. In my opinion, taking time to read a book that you're interested in, maybe it's a biography of someone you admire, maybe it's in your profession, a book written by someone in your profession that you want to learn from, or novels, just reading, stories. Reading is fundamental, and it will help you to expand your mind in ways that you didn't know were possible. Your ideas may start to change. That's why I say everything works internally. And just think of a book, if you had a hardback book with all these pages and nothing written in it, would that book be valuable? Like, who could sell a hardback book? On the title it said the best book you'll ever read, but when you open it, all the pages are blank. Would that book be valuable? No, because it has nothing in it. What makes a book valuable? It's the words, the content within that can actually change people's lives. And books are words. Books are words on paper. It's as simple as that. And there's a whole lot more to go into, with that, but taking in words, and this goes along with meditation, taking in words and, speaking out words is very powerful. And so make sure that, the words that you're reading, the words that you're receiving, whether through social media, and I'm going off on a tangent, but you understand, the words that you're receiving are going to help you grow in life. Make sure that you're reading books that's going to help you progress in your life. Tip number 5 is the one that has to do with the physical, appearance, and that's to create a self-care routine. Now, this doesn't have to be extravagant. I know there's the whole it girl thing, there's the whole that girl thing, there's the whole glow up thing, and all that sounds wonderful, and a lot of it is very expensive, okay? But there's a very simple way, to take care of yourself that doesn't include, UV masks that you have to do weekly, or, trips to the spa that may be hundreds of dollars. A lot of that stuff you can do from home, and it doesn't have to be a lot. For me, the basics are manicure. I do my manicure every week, although I don't paint my nails. I add some cuticle oil. I do the nipper where I'm trimming my cuticles, and then I'll file them and, clip and all of that. And I'll do the same for my toes. I do that myself. I haven't found a polish that I love that's non-toxic. The basics for self-care is your hair, your nails, and everything in between. So, the top, the bottom, and everything in between, okay? So if you need to pluck, do some plucking. If you're into shaving, shave, but make sure you get your nails manicured and make sure your hair is done, because if you don't know, if you're looking for someone, there's advice out there that says, if her hair ain't done and look at her feet and her nails ain't done, ain't nothing else getting done. And you don't want to be that person, okay? So make sure your hands and feet are taken care of. And that includes doing a scrub on your hands, a scrub on your lips as well. And just make sure you're taking care of your body. You're using lotion that's not going to make you ashy, a couple hours later. You're going to using good lotion. You're using good soap, and that you're cleaning properly your body. And maybe I should do a whole separate video on this. But that's the basics, the basics. I didn't talk about makeup. I didn't really, talk about, and also dental hygiene, okay? Make sure you're flossing. Make sure that you're using mouthwash. If you do oil rinses, you can do that. Simple flossing and brushing twice a day is also needed. The ears, there's no part of you left behind, okay? Making sure you're doing all of that. Doing a facial, So for me, a facial, a manicure, a pedicure, doing my hair, and doing a nice scrub-a-dub-dub, and plucking and, trimming, and all of that is included in my self-care, okay? And I do that weekly. Have a self-care routine. My tip number 6 is to consider intermittent fasting. I found out so much about intermittent fasting. I usually fast for spiritual reasons, but that doesn't mean that, just doing fasting without spiritual reasons, isn't good. It's very good. Although there is some content that came out recently about how intermittent fasting is this or that. From what I understand, that study is not exactly what it seems to be. And so I'm just going to disregard that for right now and just say that intermittent fasting has been very helpful for a lot of people, especially for maintaining weight and helping helping the body to heal itself. Fasting is really just giving your body a break. That's really all it is. It actually gives your body a break so it can actually work on itself, almost how sleeping does. When you go to sleep, you're not eating. The body is repairing itself. It's the same concept, but you're elongating the time that you're not eating so the body can not focus on what it needs to break down inside of you. It's focusing on itself internally and breaking down unneeded cells and getting them out of your body, that kind of thing. So maybe I'll link to a video that I found pretty helpful on this. I would also include in this, before you start fasting, to get, a blood panel, get your vitamins, your chart to see where you are nutritionally. Sometimes the doctors will give you a hard time in getting simple blood work. Oh, why you want to get this? The doctors work for you, okay? Get your blood work. Get it before you start anything major with your body. And also, I'll say take vitamin D every day. There are so many benefits to taking vitamin D on a daily basis. Vitamin D will actually help you to maintain your weight, which a lot of people don't know. So, and all the other great benefits to immune health and all of that. So, take your vitamin D, get your blood work, consider intermittent fasting. That will change your life. My seventh tip is to stop talking as much as you listen. Now that may sound weird, but I think you should actually listen more and talk a lot less. I think this is helpful for both men and women, but especially women, sometimes we can miss out on the help that we need just because we're not receiving, we're not listening enough. I think life is a lot harder for some people because they don't actually listen. Just listen more. That'll change your life. My bonus tip, because I always have a bonus tip, I guess, is to consider moving. I'm actually considering this myself, and this is all about a perspective shift. Just to consider the thought of moving, to a different environment um, could help you to change your life. Being around different venues, different opportunities can all change your life just by moving to a different location. Um, and I know this is probably the most costly one out of all of the tips I'm giving. If you don't have the money to consider moving right now, take the initiative to plan out times where you're going to a place that you feel uplifted and also a place where you feel calm. These could be two different areas. For me, going to, a garden um, is very helpful. It's beautiful. It's uplifting to me. Parks and anywhere outside where there's green and just color. If I love you, I'll take you to every park around me because I've been to all of them and I go to them a lot. But going to a place that's new and different, um, such as like a garden, maybe an hour away or maybe like a half an hour away, um, could help. And same as going to like a museum where you can get inspired, or going to a library. There's this one library that's not too far. It's like huge and it's a beautiful building. Going to somewhere new where you feel calm and connected. And you'd have to determine for yourself where that would be. For me, that's a library, that's a park, that's a museum, that's the beach. I have a beach that's about an hour away from me. A couple beaches that are actually an hour away. Taking time to go there to either be uplifted or to give yourself quiet time so that you can think about what your next step is in changing your life. Explore, be uplifted, or just to be quiet and to take time to write down what you want to do in life and start the change. Those are my tips for how I'm changing my life and have changed my life in 2024. If you have any other comments or things that have helped you, put them down below. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.